Hey y'all, today I'm talking YA fantasy and Shadow and Bone. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Books with Kimberly. Do not forget to like, comment, share my channel, and subscribe. Today I'm talking all about YA fantasy, and I want to start off by giving a brief review of Shadow and Bone, which is the last YA fantasy book that I've read. So I recently found out about the Shadow and Bone series on Netflix, and of course, as an avid book reader, there's always this, do I read the books before I watch the series? And so I decided that I do want to tackle on the book series if I like it. Turns out I very much did like the first book in the series, which is Shadow and Bone. There's a total of 5 books. There's like 2 series that they're combining to make the Netflix show, so I am going to try my best to read the other 4 books so that I can start this Netflix series. Y'all know sometimes these series and these movies don't be as good as the books, so I want to get the books out the way first, and then I can really see what this series is hitting for. So let's get into my review. So Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, I hope I'm saying her name right, is the first book in the Grisha trilogy. This book we get to know the main character, Alina Starkov. She's a cartographer in the First Army. Her and her best friend is a tracker, Mal. She is secretly in love with her best friend. So I thought that was kind of interesting, because y'all know it's all about the romance for me. So I like that right off the bat. I was like, oh, they telling me who her love interest is, so they had me from that point. The 2 of them are a part of the First Army. The Second Army is the Grisha, and the Grisha are these people with magical abilities. They can heal you, they can stop your heart, they can weave fabrics together, they can make water move and wind move. Like, there's a lot of things that they can do. They test children when they're really young to find out if they have any of these abilities, and once they find out you have these abilities, they ship you off to this beautiful castle where you get to learn and train. The First Army, they are sent on this task to cross the Unsea, which is called the Fold. And the Fold is this strip of dark land where they have these Volcras, these creatures that will rip at your skin and kill you. And they are trying to travel across the Unsea in order to get to the ports on the other side. Now, this is a mission that has been failed and failed, but on Alina's first trip there, something magical happens and she is able to protect her and everyone around her on this ship. So the Grisha find out about this magical girl named Alina, and they are curious as to how she has Grisha powers when she was tested as a young girl and was not Grisha. And so the Darkling, who is second in the country of Ravka to the king, he takes her under his wing in order to protect her, because her power is exactly what they need to defeat the Fold and to have Ravka back in one piece. Y'all, this story was really, really good. I really enjoyed this ordinary girl who's like, I don't have a Grisha powers. I'm not beautiful like the Grisha, because the Grisha are these beautiful, magical people. And she's like, I'm just this plain Jane. I'm not beautiful like them. There is no way that I'm Grisha. But she goes on this journey of finding out how to use her powers, how to bring the power out of her, and I really enjoyed that. This book got a lot of negative comments on Goodreads because it wasn't as complex, the concept of it, as some YA fantasy books are. It wasn't as complex, didn't go into a lot of history, as well as there wasn't a lot of action in this book. A long stretch of the book was just her being at the castle, finding out how to use her powers, really getting used to being a part of this Grisha society. And I enjoyed that because it was a lot of inner conflict of she was holding back, and that is what was keeping her from really unleashing her power. So I really enjoyed that inner dialogue of what's really going on to keep her from being her fullest potential, and then the fear of like maybe she can't save the country. Everybody is putting this pressure, their hopes on her, they're praying to her, thinking that she is the fix to getting the country back where it needs to be, and how that's so much pressure on her. And so it was really, really interesting to read this. I really love the love story, y'all, because the Darkling, he's just this mysterious dark man, but I could feel some energy between the two of them. But remember, I mentioned she was in love with her best friend, so it's kind of like, what's going on with her and the best friend? So the love story had me. I thought the Grisha and their powers were interesting. Everything about this book I absolutely loved, and I give it 5 stars. I recommend that you guys read this book, and I do plan on reading the other 4 books so that I can be ready and start this Netflix series. So I hope I can get through them all soon, because I really want to start this Netflix series, but y'all know how I do. One thing about this book that I will tell you guys though is that even though I gave this book 5 stars, I almost kind of gave up on it. Y'all, it is all about the romance for me, and so there was something that happened in the romance part of this book that almost had me like, you know what, I'm not about to do this. Y'all not about to be playing with my emotions like this. I wanted this and this to happen. I wanted them to be together, and y'all trying to mess up this fantasy I created, and I don't appreciate it. And so I was about to put the book down, but you know what, luckily it is a love triangle, so when one side of the triangle ain't working, I got another side of the triangle working. And you know what, I got all the love romance feels that I needed out of this book, and that's why I was able to give it 5 stars. One thing I realized about myself is that I kind of leaned a little too heavily on the romance subplots or plots, the romantic elements of these YA fantasy books. And I started thinking about the numerous series that I have not completed because the romance was not going where I wanted it to go. There was the Red Queen where I was kind of like, like, I don't like who she gonna end up choosing, so I'm gonna start reading this book. Sarah, I forgot, but she's real popular. The books Throne of Glass, I stopped reading those. In the 3rd book, she not gonna be with the guy I want her to be with, so I'm gonna start reading it. So many YA books, y'all, I have stopped reading. Even though the fantasy part has been good, the magic has been cool, I simply stopped reading these books because I did not like where the romance story was going. And I really blame Twilight and Hunger Games because Katniss did not pick Gale. Jacob was not picked in Twilight, and so now I just don't want to put myself through the pain of them not picking the person I want them to pick. But I do realize this is a problem, and I'm probably missing out on some really good books and finishing some really good series because I'm so focused on the romance in these books, when a lot of people who read YA fantasy can do without the romance. So I'm interested in reading a series or a YA fantasy book where like romance is not really in the book, to see if I can really teach myself how to focus on the battles, the magic, everything else that's at hand, and stop being so focused on who is she gonna end up with at the end of this book and the book series. Because y'all, I'm doing too much. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Get down in those comments and talk to me, y'all. Let me know what y'all think and feel about YA fantasy books. If you've read any good series, get down in those comments and let me know. And thanks again for tuning in to another Books with Kimberly video.